Hello, sports fans. It is Thursday, February 7th, the year 2013, and as usual, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Before we get into our NBA, let's go through some scores from last night. Let's start in college basketball, where Kansas went into TCU and got upset by a terrible TCU team. This was a shocker last night. I was really surprised about this score. Kansas lost at home to Oklahoma State over the weekend, and you figure they're going to come back and just blow out TCU. TCU 0-8 in the Big 12, and Kansas looked as flat as a pancake. At one point in the first half, there was 5 minutes left. They had 4 points. They had 4 points in about 15 minutes of basketball. Kansas did not come to play. They looked flat. Very surprising. Bill Self usually has his team ready to play. Remember, this is the Kansas team that's in the top 5 most of the year. Only lost 2 games. I mean, I thought they would blow out TCU. I mean, I don't know what the story was here. Maybe they're looking ahead to their arch rival Oklahoma over the weekend or something. But they were not ready to play. Give TCU all the credit in the world. They're not a good team, and they beat a really good Kansas team. Terrible loss by Kansas. I was shocked by that score. I'm going to keep an eye on Kansas the next couple games, see where their head's at, because they were not mentally into that game at all. Arizona in the desert beat Stanford. That was a tough loss for Stanford. Stanford led a lot of this game, and as Arizona does throughout the whole year, they pull these games out right at the end. Tough loss for Stanford. They needed this win to boost their tournament standings. They really need to go on a big winning streak to have any shot of making the tournament now. Louisville bombed Rutgers. Michigan State beat Minnesota in a Big Ten game. Indiana State upset Creighton. Oklahoma State in overtime beat a tough Baylor team. Oklahoma State, 2 nice wins in a row. And St. John's with a really nice win over UConn in Madison Square Garden. St. John's had to have it. They had lost to Georgetown over the weekend. They go to Syracuse and Louisville in the next couple of games. Had to have this game or else they were going to lose 4 in a row. Nice job by St. John's. Steve Lavin can coach. He can recruit. St. John's has a lot of good young freshmen on this team. They can play. I like the direction St. John's is heading. Nice win by them over UConn. As far as the NHL last night, Boston went into Montreal and beat the Canadiens. The Bruins are a really good team. Anaheim continued their surprising start. They beat Colorado. And Dallas beat Edmonton in overtime. Jaromir Jagr with the game-winning goal. Do you believe Jagr is still playing? I mean, I still can't believe he's playing. I still can't picture him on Dallas, but here he is with the game-winning goal last night, so nice job by him. As far as your NBA last night, Boston beat Toronto. Indiana continues their hot play. They beat Philadelphia. Washington upset the Knicks. I was surprised about that score. Clippers finally won a game. They actually won without Paul and Griffin in the lineup. They beat Orlando, who's dreadful. Atlanta beat Memphis. Memphis is going to really struggle now without Rudy Gay. Miami beat Houston. Oklahoma City plastered Golden State. That's a couple of bad losses in a row for Golden State. Dallas beat Portland, and Utah beat Milwaukee. I wanted to get to the soccer real quick. The men's national team on the United States side, they started World Cup qualifying yesterday. Remember, there's 6 teams in this group. The top 3 go to Brazil in a year and a half for the World Cup. The 4th place team has to play a play-in round, and the 5th and 6th place team are eliminated. So you got to finish at least in the top 4. You'd like to be in the top 3 to make it to Brazil. United States was in Honduras yesterday, starting off the World Cup qualifying. They score in the first half. Dempsey has a nice goal. They're up 1-0. You figure, all right, this is going to be a nice win. They're going to get off to a nice start. Instead, a few minutes later, Honduras scores on a bicycle kick, which is a really nice goal by Honduras. All right, you figure it's 1-1. Maybe you get out of there with a tie. Playing on the road and getting a tie is no big deal. You can live with that. 80th minute, defensive breakdown. Honduras scores. Honduras holds on, wins 2-1. Terrible, terrible loss by a United States men's soccer team. You cannot lose this game and get no points. I mean, you want to tell me they gave up the tying goal and you get 1 point out of it? They get 0 points out of this game. Their backline defense is suspect at best. And you know what? Where's Landon Donovan? Landon Donovan is taking a break because he doesn't know if he wants to play soccer anymore. Doesn't know if he wants to play for the men's national team anymore. Is tired of the travel. Landon Donovan needs to commit to this team one way or the other. Are you in or are you out, Landon Donovan? You can't be halfway. I mean, when is he going to play? I mean, is he going to play the next game in March? Is he going to play in the World Cup if they make it? Is he going to play, 3 months from now? The team doesn't know. Donovan and Dempsey, since Klinsmann has taken over as coach, have not played a complete game together, have not played a full game together. I mean, one or the other is always out. I mean, Donovan has to commit to this team. He has a responsibility to this team. And it's not like the United States is overwhelmed with great players. This is not Brazil where you can plug in another good player. They miss Donovan. He's one of their better players, and the United States men's side does not have a lot of good players. Remember, in this country, our best athletes don't play soccer like other places. In Brazil, all their best athletes are playing soccer. In other countries, that's the way it is. Their best athletes are playing soccer. Not here in the United States. They're playing football, they're playing basketball, they're playing hockey, they're going into baseball. Soccer is way down the list. So when you got a guy like Landon Donovan, you can't afford to lose him. And another thing, Landon Donovan acts like he's 40 years old. He's a young man. He's 30 years old. Play one more World Cup, retire when you're 31 or 32, you have more money than you could ever spend, and live happily ever after. I mean, I don't understand this. I mean, the way he's playing around with this team, I mean, is he out? Is he in? I mean, the coach doesn't even know when he's going to come back. It's definitely a distraction to this team. Now, having said that, it's not the only reason they lost yesterday. Their defense is suspect at best, and Klinsmann's got to get a set lineup in here. Every game he's changing the lineup. It's this lineup, that lineup. They need a set lineup. They need to stick with it. They need to play together for a while. Next game is in March against Costa Rica at home in Colorado. I think they have a good chance of winning that game. They really need to rebound and win that game. Remember, 0 points for a loss, obviously. 1 point for a draw, 3 for a win. So here's how the group of 6 looks right now. Honduras has 3 points. They're leading the group. Jamaica, which tied Mexico last night, and Costa Rica, which tied Panama last night, those 4 teams all have 1 point. So Honduras 3, Jamaica, Mexico, Costa Rica 1 point, United States 0. Not the worst scenario for the United States considering they lost. They're mostly a point behind, most of the teams. And remember, the top 3 make it to Brazil. The 4th place team is still alive for a playoff. So it's not a disaster. There's still 9 games to go in this qualifying round. They're going to play until the fall. This is going to go on for a long time. Terrible way to start. Need Donovan back. Need to shore up the defense. Need to get a set lineup. Need to beat Costa Rica at home in Colorado in March. We'll see you then. We'll see how they play that game. If they lose that game, they're in trouble. Need a win. I think they'll get it. We'll see you in March for that. All right. Transitioning over to your NBA, let's go through the NBA standings. We're just about halfway through the NBA season. We're almost at the All-Star break, believe it or not. All right, let's start in the NBA. The East, we're going to go worst to first, 15-1. Number 15 right now, Charlotte. They're 11-37. I mean, what can you say about Charlotte? First of all, Michael Jordan, as great of a player as he was as a player, he's a terrible executive. He was a terrible executive with the Wizards, who are also a bad team. He had his fingerprints all over that team. He's got his fingerprints all over Charlotte. They're a miserable team. I do like Walker. Kid Gilchrist looks like a prospect, although he's out with a concussion. Mullins, the center, maybe you got something there. And I'll tell you who's an absolute bust. Tyrus Thomas. He came out of LSU. He was picked very high in the draft. That year at LSU, he played with Big Baby. They beat Duke. They got all the way to the Final Four. You thought this guy was going to be a really good NBA player. He is a bust, a complete bust. A bust of a player. I am so disappointed with him. Charlotte needs all kinds of work. I mean, it's going to be years and years till they have a decent team at best. Michael Jordan, horrible job as an executive. Number 14, Washington, another team that Michael Jordan was an executive of. 13-35, 3-21 on the road. I mean, Crawford and Beal, decent. They have Wall back, but other than that, Washington doesn't have much else. I mean, you do have John Wall. They did beat the Knicks, but they need all sorts of work as well. You have Orlando in the number 13 position. They are 15-34. I mean, you have a Follow and Reddick, and, you have Mo Harkless. Maybe he turns out to be a decent player. But other than that, once Orlando lost, Dwight Howard, we knew they were going to be miserable for a long, long time. Cleveland is in the 12th position. They're 14-35. Irving is a fabulous point guard. He's averaging 24 points a game. They have Spates, they have Waiters, they have Thompson. Varejão's out for the year. Zella's got to develop into a better player. Ellington looks like he could be a bust, so Cleveland needs all sorts of work. I heard rumors that Cleveland's positioning themselves to make a run at LeBron James when he becomes a free agent. Are you kidding me? I mean, they're going to go down the LeBron James road again? I mean, didn't LeBron James leave this city and this team high and dry, and you're going to try and sign him again as a free agent? And I'm sure he's going to be running back to Cleveland, right? I mean, my goodness. I mean, what is going on? Cleveland, please move on from that already. Rebuild your team. You have Irving. Rebuild around him. Your number 11 seed right now is Toronto. They're 17-32, 5-19 on the road. They do have Gay, which is a nice addition. I did like that trade for Toronto. They have DeRozan, Bargnani, Lowry, Allen Anderson, some decent players. They're not a total dog, but they need all sorts of work as well. They're not the worst team in the league, but they're far, far away from even being a playoff team. Detroit is in your 10 position. They're 18-32. Detroit's 13-14 at home. They'll battle you at home. On the road, they're 5-18. I mean, not good at all. They do have Monroe. They do have Knight. You know, those two guys are pretty good players, but once again, need all sorts of work, Detroit. Number 9, Philadelphia. They're 21-27, 6-15 on the road. Still no Andrew Bynum. Every week I sit here and I say, when is Andrew Bynum coming back? He's not back yet. Where is Andrew Bynum? They need him back. If you put Bynum in the lineup with Holiday, Young, and Turner, maybe you challenge for a playoff spot. Without him, you're 21-27. Need Andrew Bynum back. What is going on with this guy? He's hurt every single year. Can't get on the court. That's Philadelphia. Now here's your top 8. This would be your teams in the playoffs as of right now. Obviously, we have a long way to go. Number 8, Boston. 25-23. They lose Rondo for the year. They've actually been playing well since Rondo went out, but let's face it, they're going to miss Rondo. Plus, Boston has a lot of age on them. Hearing all sorts of rumors that teams are interested in Garnett. I'll believe it when I see it that Boston actually trades him. I don't think they're going to trade him to the Clippers for Butler, and a couple other guys. I mean, that makes no sense. To me, Garnett's going to stay with Boston. Maybe Boston squeezes into the playoffs. The writing's on the wall, though. Too much age, no Rondo. Number 7, Milwaukee. They're 25-24. Jennings and Ellis in the backcourt. To me, one of them's got to be moved. Both of them shoot a lot. You need to move one of them and just keep the other one. Sanders plays good D. You'd like to trade one of these point guards for some size in the middle. I think one of those guys has to be moved. I would trade Ellis. He shoots you out of so many games. He does have talent. Takes way too many shots, though. I would trade him. Number 6, Atlanta. 27-21. Smith and Horford playing well. They lose Williams for the year. Overall, Atlanta's done a nice job. They have fallen back a little bit since the beginning of the year, but considering they have 9 new players on their roster from last year, doing a nice job. Brooklyn, number 5 position, they're 29-20. They have a good team, Brooklyn. They have Lopez and Johnson and Williams and Blatch and Wallace and Humphreys. PJ Carlissimo's doing a good job as coach. They have a decent home crowd now. They have a nice home environment now. The problem with Brooklyn is they can't beat the elite teams. They can beat your bad teams and your mediocre teams. Any good team or elite team they play, they lose to, even on their home court. Have to find a way to beat the good teams. Hearing the rumors again about Dwight Howard. Remember, Dwight Howard hasn't signed with the Lakers. He hasn't signed an extension. Hearing the rumors again. Maybe Howard to Brooklyn next year. Here we go again. We've been down this road before. Number 4, Chicago. They're 29-19. 14-8 on the road, and this is without Derrick Rose. I mean, Boozer playing well, Dang playing well, Noah playing well. Coach Thibodeau gets the most out of this team. They're 10 games over 500. They're 6 games over on the road without their star point guard, Derrick Rose. Put Derrick Rose on this team, you have an upper echelon Eastern team. Number 3, Indiana. They're 31-19. Indiana is flying. They don't lose at home. They're getting Granger back soon. They have George, West, Hill, Hibbard. I really like this Indiana team. Remember, last year in the playoffs, they gave Miami all they can handle. They battled Miami. Indiana is a very, very, very solid team. When Granger comes back, they're going to be even better. Look out for Indiana. I like what I see from them. Number 2, the Knicks. They're 31-17. Had a bad loss to Washington last night, but overall, Coach Woodson's done a nice job with this team. Melo playing out of sight. J.R. Smith has played well. Felton really playing well. Amari hasn't caused any waves yet. Chandler anchoring the defense, and Kidd playing well as well. This Knicks team reminds me of the Maverick team from a few years ago. I mean, that Maverick team had Chandler anchoring down the middle. They had the big star in Nowitzki. This team has Melo. Reminds me a little bit of that Maverick team. Number 1 seed, the Miami Heat. They're 32-14. James, Wade, Bosh, Allen. We know how good they are. They're the best team in the NBA when they bring their A game. They don't have much size. That's one vulnerability for Miami. That's one way you can get to them. Not a lot of size, but still the best team in the league. Over to the NBA West, 15-1. Your number 15 team, the New Orleans Hornets. They're 16-33. They're changing their name to the Pelicans next year. I do like the direction they're headed in. They have the big man Davis. He looks like he's going to be a really good player. Gordon finally on the court. He's playing well. I like Rivers as well. Nice nucleus of players. It's going to take years for them to develop. Need to get some more fans in the seats there in New Orleans. They have light crowds every week. Get some fans in the seats. Watch these nice young players. Number 14, Phoenix. They're 17-33, 4-20 on the road. 4-20 on the road. I do like Scola. They have a couple players, but not much talent here on Phoenix. Not a lot of talent at all. I mean, if I was a team, I'd look to trade for Scola. If you put Scola on a good team, you really have something. He's a really good role player. The problem is he can't be a role player on Phoenix. He's got to be their main star. So that's where Phoenix is. They need all kinds of help. Number 13, Sacramento. They're 17-33, 5-21 on the road. They are definitely, looks like, moving to Seattle. That means they're a lame duck franchise there in Sacramento. They have Cousins, the big man, but he's flaky. He has ability. Evans is a really nice player, but if there's one guy they're going to trade, it's probably going to be him. They have Thomas, Thornton, Thompson. They have some decent players, but they don't seem to gel. They seem to need to break up the score. Fredette, who they picked really high in the draft, he doesn't look like he's going to be that good. He can hit the three. I mean, he's like a J.J. Redick type player. But when you pick a guy that high, expect him to be like a star. He's not. Number 12, Minnesota, 18-28, 6-17 on the road. What more can you say? Kevin Love is hurt. He basically missed most of this year. He's not going to be back till the end of this year. Rubio missed all last year. Rubio and Love never play together. What more can you say? You need those two guys together at the same time. Hasn't happened yet. Number 11, Dallas. They're 22-28, 8-19 on the road. Nowitzki's always hurt now. It's funny, you look at this roster with Nowitzki, Mayo, Brand, Kaman, Marion. You say they can't be this bad. Well, right now they are. And the big reason is Nowitzki can't stay healthy. He's in and out of the lineup the whole time. You know Cuban's going to throw a fit any day now. Look for him to make a trade. The Lakers at the number 10 position, they're 23-26, 7-16 on the road. A complete circus. Now Gasol's out 6 weeks with an injury. Dwight Howard is laboring. I mean, Artest got suspended the other day. He missed a game. I mean, what a circus here in La La Land. I mean, it's just a joke. Every day there's a new quote from Lakerland about what they're doing. I am so sick of this team. They are a totally unlikable team. This is an unlikable group. From Artest to Kobe to Howard to just Gasol, on and on. They're unlikable. They're not endearing to the fans at all. It's a circus. Now Gasol's out. Number 9, Portland. They're 25-24. They are a bad road team. 8-15. They're good at home. I like Aldridge. I like Lilliard. I like Batum. I like Matthews. I like Hickson there. So a lot of nice young players in Portland. They do have a lot to watch in Portland. Nice home crowd. They're good at home. Got to pick up their road play if they expect to make the playoffs. Now your top 8 teams. This would be your top 8 teams in the West if the season ended today. Number 8, Houston. They're 27-24. They are up and down, Houston. They win 3, lose 4, win 5, lose 6. Up, down. Here we go. I mean, they do have Harden, Parsons, Lynn, Patterson, Ashik, Douglas. I mean, they do have some nice players. McHale's doing a nice job coaching the team. I do like what I see from Houston. They also have Morris, who's a decent player. Houston's exciting. I like what I see. They are improved. I think they can squeak into the playoffs. Do I think they're a title contender? No. But I do like where Houston's headed. So nice job by them. Number 7, Utah, 28-22, 9-17 on the road. They have Jefferson, Millsap, Hayward, Foy, Favors. Nice collection of players. No superstar, and they're not a good road team. Number 6 is Golden State. They're starting to drop a little bit. They're 30-19. They do have Curry, they have Lee, they have Thompson, Landry, Barnes. Bogart is back, but he's going to take a long time to get back into shape. Remember, Rush is out for the year. Golden State's starting to slip a little bit, but they got off to such a great start. They're still 30-19. Mark Jackson's done a tremendous job with this team. Watch how they play the rest of the year. They are starting to slip a little bit. We'll keep an eye on them. So they're number 6. Number 5, Memphis. They're 30-18. This is another team to watch. They may slip. They traded Rudy Gay. I mean, I know they had to do it for cap reasons. I didn't love the trade. Not that they didn't get a couple decent guys back, but I didn't love the trade. I thought they could have gotten more for Gay. They're going to really struggle without his offense. Look for Memphis to dip a little bit. They still have Gasol, Randolph, and Conley. I mean, but they're going to dip a little bit without Rudy Gay. Make no mistake about it. Number 4, Denver Nuggets. I said before the season they were my surprise team. They are very surprising. They're 32-18, 21-3 at home. What a nice job by Denver. Gallinari, Lawson, Iguodala, Fareed, Brewer, McGee. Nice collection of players. Need one of them to develop into a superstar. They have no superstar. If you want to get to that next level, you got to have a superstar. They're a good team. They're in the 4 position. Need a superstar to win the title or challenge for the title. But still, George Karl, nice job. And they are unbeatable at home. Best home team in the league when they play in that altitude. On the road, different story. Overall, nice job by the Nuggets. Number 3 seed, the Clippers. They're 35-16. They actually won a game. They're like 3-11 in their last 3-8 in their last 11 games. Griffin is out. He's day-to-day. Paul is still out. He's day-to-day. He's missed about 10 games now. They really miss him. They can't win a game without Chris Paul. I mean, outside the game they beat Orlando, they haven't beaten anyone, and now Griffin is laboring. So Clippers have taken a step back in the last couple of weeks because of these injuries. You get Griffin and Paul healthy, you have a really, really solid team. Without those guys, you're going to struggle, especially Chris Paul. They can't win a game without him. Number 2, Oklahoma City. They're 37-12. We know they're one of the best teams in the league. Durant, Westbrook, Ibaka. Great home court. The coach looks like he knows what he's doing. I still think they're going to miss Harden come playoff time. I don't think Martin's as good as Harden. This is another situation just like Memphis because of cap reasons, and they're a small market team. They had to move Harden. I understand that. I would have tried to have kept them, maybe make one more run. Maybe they could have gotten some more for Harden. I mean, I know they got a lot of draft picks, and they did get Martin, who's a decent player, but still, I think come playoff time, Harden, they're going to miss him. I still think they're going to miss him. Number 1, San Antonio right now, 39-11. I'm sorry, 40-11. Duncan and Ginobili out with injuries. They still keep rolling along. You know, you like Parker, you have Splitter, you have Neal. I mean, you have Leonard, you have Green. Popovich gets the most out of these guys. If you put Splitter on another team or a Green on another team, these guys probably wouldn't do anything. But Popovich squeezes every ounce out of his teams every single year. He's a tremendous coach. To me, the mark of a good coach is getting the most of out of the players you have, and Popovich does that. San Antonio's 40-11. And they rest their guys half the time. Ginobili and Duncan don't play every game. I mean, it's just they have a lot of age on them, and they're still 40-11. Now, I think in the playoffs, the age is going to come back to bite them. They had 2 big regular seasons the last 2 years and came up short in the playoffs. I think that's going to happen again. Duncan is getting up there now. He's getting near around 40 now. It's hard to expect a lot from Tim Duncan at this stage of his career. I mean, San Antonio is going to have to go through teams like Oklahoma City and the Clippers with an older team. I don't see that happening, but as far as the regular season, nobody does a better job than San Antonio. Great job coaching his team by Popovich. 40-11, amazing. So that's your NBA right now. I wanted to touch real quick on what to watch for tonight and over the weekend. Oh, before we do that, let's get to some movies real quick. Let's get to some movies before I go through the weekend schedule. I saw on DVD a movie called The Cold Light of Day, with Bruce Willis, Sigourney Weaver, and Henry Cavill. He's the guy that plays a part in The Tudors, that series. All I have to say is Bruce Willis has some nerve being on the cover of this movie. Bruce Willis, whatever money he made for this movie, he stole. He stole it. This movie was awful. I hated this movie. I hated Bruce Willis's part. Henry Cavill is not a lead in a movie, maybe in a miniseries somewhere, but not in a major motion picture. And Sigourney Weaver, what's happened to her? She was great in those Alien flicks, and she comes out and plays a part like this. I hated this movie. 0 to 4 stars. One star for The Cold Light of Day. Bruce Willis has some nerve being on the cover of this movie. I can't believe whatever they paid him. He stole. He stole money in this movie. And by the way, he's got another Die Hard coming out. in a few weeks. I hope that's better than the last Die Hard. I like the first Die Hard. I can live with the second one. I like the third one. The fourth one was atrocious. I hope the fifth one's not as bad. I think it's coming out next week. Bruce Willis, when's the last time you were in a big movie? And I like Bruce Willis, so come on, Bruce, you got to up your game. I'm going to check out Flight with Denzel Washington over the weekend. That could be a sleeper movie. I still got to watch Zero Dark 30 and Lincoln. Those are up for a lot of Oscars. Here's another thing about these award shows. Now, Argo's winning all these awards. They won, the last award shows and all that kind of stuff. Affleck won for Best Director. But here's the problem I have with these awards. They're winning all these awards, but Affleck is not up for the Oscar for Best Director. So they win all these awards. The movie's up. This one's up. But Affleck, who's already won, other awards for Best Director, is not up for Best Director in the Oscars. I mean, that's why these award shows are a joke. Joaquin Phoenix said it best. These award shows are an absolute joke. And he's right. He's been robbed a couple times. It's all about politics. It's all nonsense. I mean, Argo and Affleck have been winning awards the last month every which way. Yet the biggest one, the Oscars, Affleck is not up for Best Director, yet the picture is up. I mean, can you explain this to me? I mean, that's why these award shows you can't take seriously. So anyway, the Oscars are coming up soon. I still have to see Argo, by the way. That's another movie I have to get to. But Cold Light of Day with Bruce Willis, 1 star. 1 star. And Bruce Willis, you have some nerve being on the cover of that movie. And whatever you made, you stole. All right, so that's my little rant about movies. Now, what to watch for over the weekend? As far as over the weekend, what to watch for, starting tonight and going through the weekend. As far as your NBA tonight, you have the Lakers and Boston. You have Chicago and Denver. Friday, Clippers and Miami, except no Paul, no Griffin. You have Golden State, Memphis, Portland, Houston, Chicago, Utah. Saturday, Golden State, Dallas. Sunday, Clippers at the Knicks. Once again, no Griffin, no Paul. I mean, the Knicks should handle them. Lakers in Miami. Good luck, Lakers. Denver, Boston, San Antonio, Brooklyn. Nice game there. As far as your NHL over the weekend, tonight, Montreal, Buffalo. We'll see if Montreal can rebound off their loss last night. Tampa Bay Devils, Islanders, Rangers. Always a fun rivalry. Florida, Philly, Washington, Pittsburgh, Detroit, St. Louis, Vancouver, Minnesota, Chicago, Phoenix. Tomorrow you have Anaheim, Dallas. Saturday, Tampa, Boston, Pitt Devils. Nice game. Anaheim, St. Louis. Sunday, LA, Detroit. Boston, Buffalo, Tampa, Rangers, and New Jersey, Pitt again. New Jersey and Pitt playing a home-and-home over the weekend. College basketball tonight, Indiana at Illinois. That's number 1 Indiana at Illinois. Illinois should be flying for this game. They are on the bubble at best. They need a big signature win. They have a big chance tonight against number 1 Indiana. The crowd in Champaign tonight, Illinois should be flying. NC State at Duke. Remember, Duke lost to NC State. Friday, not much going on in college basketball. Saturday, Michigan at Wisconsin. Kansas at Oklahoma. Keep an eye on Kansas because they looked lethargic last night. North Carolina at Miami, surprising Miami. Louisville at Notre Dame. New Mexico at UNLV. Pitt at Cincinnati. Iowa State at Kansas State. Those are your Saturday games. Sunday, Indiana, Ohio State. Indiana's got 2 big road games in a row. At Illinois, at Ohio State. Illinois at Minnesota. Illinois got to win some of these games. They got a chance against Indiana tonight, then at Minnesota over the weekend. And St. John's at Syracuse. I think St. John's is going to run into a buzzsaw here. I think Syracuse polishes them off in the Dome. We shall see. So that's some of the things to keep an eye on over the weekend. All right, I will be back with you guys Monday. We'll recap everything that went on in the sports world the last few days, and then we'll go through our regular schedule during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. You guys, enjoy the games tonight. Stay safe. Thanks for tuning in. Check out some of those movies I've been talking about. I will talk to you Monday. Have a great weekend. You guys take care.